The buoyancy behavior allows you to create water effects. You can also use this behavior to create floating objects. To create a buoyancy behavior, first use the rectangle tool and create an area for the buoyancy to take effect. We want this rectangle to be a scenery type physics object, and we can set the color to a watercolor if we wish, and also set the transparency using this slider here to a lower value. To apply the buoyancy behavior, we go to Minigame Setup. In this case, we'll select the Game Loaded trigger so that it takes effect when the game starts. And for the behavior, we'll select the buoyancy behavior. And we want this, in this case, to exist within the bounds of a selected object. And we'll select that object as the rectangle. We want all objects to participate in the buoyancy, and we'll use the default density of 15. Let's create some objects to float. I'll select a wood texture, and we'll create some boxes here. Make sure the physics is set to free for these. And now if we select play game and save our creation, we can see these objects float. We also want the water to appear above these objects, so let's edit the game again, and we'll say bring front for the buoyancy container, and if we play again, we can see the objects are floating inside this transparent object. Normally you would have ground around the water, so let's select a sand texture, and using the pen tool and using platform physics, we can sketch out some ground here around the pool. And if we bring that to front, now we have a complete little pool. Let's also make these objects draggable. If we go to Setup, and in the Game Loaded trigger, we'll use the draggable object behavior. We'll make all these boxes draggable. Now if we play the game, we can catch these objects if we're fast enough and drag them around, and they float in the water. Let's see how we can use the buoyancy behavior now for floating objects. I'm going to create just a circle here, and we'll change the fill color to a red, and let's create several copies of that. So now we'll add in our buoyancy behavior. And in this case, we'll say we want the buoyancy to be on the entire game screen, and we want all objects to participate. And when the objects float off the screen, let's have them positioned back at the bottom. Also in the Game Loaded, let's get rid of the ground object. That way the balls can continuously float. And if we play the game, and again we'll save this, and you can see that the objects will float continuously up the screen.